Lovely, lovely people, a pleasant evening to you. Now, people, I know sometimes you will be scrolling the internet and you come across people talking about it's almost like the psychology of bad mind and, jealous people and people who are envious, but it's deeper than that. There are some people who are simply evil, they're sheer evil, they're just evil. You have to wonder if it is that they did, if they truly and truly came from a woman, if a man contributed to the eggs and then they were fashioned in the mother's womb, because there's no way, as imperfect as all of us are, and we have all done wicked things, but I'm talking about the intentionality, the planning behind, the organizing behind their evil. They are so evil that they make evil look like evil is not trying. They are so wicked that they make malevolence, wickedness seem as though they are not trying. My God. And to top it off, in terms of their evil, what they do, they recruit people to join in and to be against you. Oftentimes when you come across people who, when you see people suddenly can't talk to you, like they can't strike up a conversation with you, they can't engage, or if you enter a room, the conversation suddenly ends, and they give the dead ear, the dead silence, like they want you to feel very ostracized and feel bad and feel rejected. You suddenly see that usually they're speaking negatively about you. And it bothers their conscience to know that, they would have to be having a good conversation with you. Humans, how we are created, there is that God spot within us. There is that consciousness within us. So you're not going to necessarily feel comfortable to have a good conversation with somebody while tearing them to shreds. After a while, it's going to play upon you. So that is why you will find that they will kind of ostracize you, because they can't handle that. You know what I mean? They cannot handle it. They can't handle being malevolent, being evil, being wicked towards you. And if they're jealous, they can't keep the jealousy to themselves. They have to spread it to others. So that is why they recruit other people to be against you. Have you ever noticed it's never one or two or three? It's more sometimes. You'll be in a space and they all not speak to you. And you wonder to yourself, isn't life funny? And my encouragement is just sit back and watch and relax, because you're going to laugh last. He who laughs last certainly laughs the best. One thing I know with a God, they have a saying, one on one is wicked, but 2 on 1 is murder. Can you imagine 3 or 4 or 5 or more? What you would call that? Can you imagine? Against 1. But remember, when they came for Jesus, it was over 600 and odd made for 1. Jesus must have just smiled within himself, although it was an agonizing moment to say, they were so fearful of him, of this one man, that they had to bring 600 and odd. I thought it was just, it was a magnificent, although it was a very sad thing at the same time. For sure, you said Jesus had the boss, him had the Dan Gargan, the original gold teeth, front teeth. Dan Gargan, not Ninja Man. But I want you to understand, and I want you to keep the faith. It is not easy. It's one of the most difficult things to deal with. When you see people ostracize you, reject you, and suddenly treat you very bad. I mean, it was always there brewing. They were never really sincere. So it is easy for them to steer over into the negative. But hold strain, hold fast. Because one thing I know, you can't plant peas and reap corn, because it's planting they're doing. However you treat somebody you are planting, you may think that you're not, but you are. And I've lived to see some things happen to people who treat other people badly. It never ends well. It never ends well at all. So I try not to do that. But at the same time, you can't watch yourself pine away, or watch yourself be treated as though you're nothing, Your worth is disregarded. Your worth is devalued. And you have to kind of stand alone sometimes. It's hard. It is difficult. but you will survive, you will make it. But their karma, as we say in this modern time, it's not going to be pretty. They're going to understand when it says, touch not the Lord's anointed, nor do my servant any harm. God doesn't play about his people. In fact, the Holy Spirit is grieved when you trouble anybody, especially when they don't trouble you, and when you deliberately know that you are doing something bad and you continue to do it. You know that it is hurtful. You know what you're doing. How can you, for example, you're in a room and you don't talk to one person, but you talk to everybody else and think it is good? Huh? Or if you strike up a conversation, you call others except that one individual who has never done you anything. I heard a lady once said, I wonder which heaven they think they're going. I'm eating popcorn, sorry. You know, maybe a part of the heavenly realms. Please understand, when it in Ephesians 6, when it talks about, you know, spiritual wickedness in high places, or some, you know, the ominous world forces in the heavenly realms. Yes, we're not talking about heaven itself. It's just in the atmosphere. So it's just use that term heavenly, but it's not the heaven where God is. You understand me? One of the parts of that heavenly realm that it talks about is where Satan and him demon then lodge till them time expire. You hear? That is why they call it spiritual in the heavenly realms. It's a different entities, different forces, different locations. You know? And it just uses the term heavenly, but it's not as in heaven itself. Nope. So maybe that is a heavenly realm. Some people will be ended up. They will end up rather. Don't be daunted. Don't be moved. Hold steadfast, immovable. It hurts, but you have to just move full speed ahead. Full speed ahead, and know that sometimes it is good, because what God is doing is exposing the people who are against you. What God is doing, exposing the people who, you know, will sell you out for 30 pieces of silver or less. So one of the things as a human being, if you want to be a true leader, is learn to stand alone. Even in the midst of chaos, even in the midst of difficulty, you will fear out, you will pan out, you will steadfast. Just continue to pray and trust God. That's what I do. As hurtful as it is, I see it, I witness it, I am experiencing it. And I say, God, deal with it. Sad. I don't know though. These people, I wonder if they're really humans though. You know, it's sometimes quite puzzling. But their karma is coming. Their karma is certainly coming. You know, you can't plant peace because you're planting. Well, however you treat people, good or bad, you're planting. And whatever you plant, you reap in abundance. Anyway, guys, you know what to do with TikTok and YouTube. Subscribe. Give me one of those lions. Thank you.